Welcome in, everyone, to the Challenge Aftershow. Today, Jenna, Pam, and I are talking about the Challenge USA Season 2, Episode 12, Amongst the Ruins. Revenge Amongst the Ruins. That's what it's called. It's a revenge game. And it really was. Like, when I saw that title, I said, okay, an underdog's probably winning this daily today if it's Revenge Amongst the Ruins. And what underdog is it going to be? Oh, look who it happened to be. There you go.
Well, I'm so happy the person who won the challenge, but it being a whole revenge episode, the whole point of it, I was frustrated with this episode. This episode got under my skin way too much because I feel like the person who won the challenge I was so excited about, and then it went to no use, right? Because it was the same old predictable elimination, with the same person who we've seen 3 times already down there, and the person we were kind of expecting to be the next person up anyway. So it felt like it just was another annoying episode where you could have really put like a big dog or made it a little bit more exciting, and it was the same predictable script that we've seen.
All right.
I liked it for some. Yeah, I mean, I liked that we got crazy Josh back. I knew it's like you didn't change that much. You're not normal now. No. So we got crazy Josh back, and it's been not Michelle focused, and I think she's always good for some craziness too. It's been just so tame this whole time. So I was glad to get a little Michelle. I totally feel for her too, though. Like, she's the wacky that I totally understand. I would like be like the Michelle if I had to, just like emotional and doing weird things, but that makes sense at the time. And but I thought it was kind of cool. The only thing that frustrated me, and we'll get into it right when I don't want to get too into it, was Desi just sort of being I guess the word I want to say is a wussy. That's not really what I mean, but something like, it's like, and I feel so bad about going back my word to Tori. It's like, oh, come on. You don't have to be a cutthroat, lying, stabbing in the back meanie. But it's like, also, like, this is kind of your chance. Like, there was a real missed opportunity here. And I love Tori, but it's like, come on, just like to roll over to prove back in your loyalty to her, because I don't think she has the fire of a competitor, unfortunately. And so it makes me not interested in her winning. It's like, will I beat Tori in a final? I don't know. Like, you shouldn't want to know. You should want to see her in a final. You should want to take her out now.
Well, Pamela, you brought up my opening topic, so that's great.
Oh, okay.
But before we get into this, we're going to get right into that. But before we get into that, I will say, I thought we finally got a great fight of the season, the Michelle versus Michaela fight. I can't wait to get into that and talk about that. And Jenna, you were talking about how you wish that Chris made a bigger move.
Yeah.
Maybe like a Fessy. Maybe you wanted a Fessy.
Basically, I'll put it to you this way. Watching the entire challenge, I'm rooting for Chris so hard because all of these top dog guy veterans are looped together. He is the outcast. They're all against him. They gang up on him every time. They have the numbers, so somebody in their alliance wins week after week and throws him in, just trying to get him out. So I'm rooting for him so heavy this entire time, thinking like, go Chris, first of all, because I want you to win, because I like you, but go Chris also because this is going to make the show more exciting. This is going to change the power dynamic and turn the house around. And it just simply doesn't. Like, it annoys me that they basically, people who aren't in power, people who are not Chris and Desi, people who didn't win, wanted it to be a girls' elimination. And they were so confident and so chest out that it was going to be a girls' elimination that it's like, well, then why did Chris and Desi even win? Like, it just...
I agree with you, but on the Desi side, I was like, oh, right, now's your moment to... For some reason, I don't know why. I don't know if I just had it in my head or if the Michelle fight let me know. Like, I wasn't even thinking it was going to be a guy. I was like so focused on what girls were going in that I didn't even think about who I'd prefer and we'll have to talk about that more, like with the numbers. Like, could they have even made it a guy's day if they wanted to? I don't know. Did they have the numbers? I'm not sure. So
see, that was gonna be my point that I wanted to bring up with Jenna is I think when Chris and Desi went in to do their nominations, I think that they knew that the house was leaning towards having it be a girls' day. So I think Chris was thinking in his head, I wish they kind of used, maybe there was footage of it they didn't use, but I think Chris was thinking, if I put Fessy down there and it's a girl's day, I just made an enemy out of a heavy hitter in the house versus Josh, whatever, throw him down there. I'm not worried about Josh. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of the attitude that Chris is having there. I beat Wes. If Wes isn't worried about Josh, why should I be worried about Josh? And I beat Wes. So that's where I was going with that comment I made earlier with you. But yeah.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And I was figuring that too. I'm like, well, I guess Chris just doesn't want to get blood on his hands, right? But for us, I'm just disappointed because that's not what I wanted to happen as a viewer.
Agreed. Yes.
Fun. I want something exciting. I want Bananas to have to go in there. I want Fessy or Corey, somebody's name to get called to have to go in there. The fact that they put Josh, I was like, that's kind of lame. Like, Chris,
yeah.
I really athletic. Yeah, I'm like, you're really athletic. You're really smart. And you think about your eliminations. Like, we can see that you are I think you could beat anybody in an elimination, Chris. So I'm like, but why put Josh down there? Because you're going to beat him in a final. Like, if you're going to put a guy down there, put a guy down there that we're at the point now where it's somebody who you try to take out to go home. And if you can make it a guy's day, then you could have like a Fessy versus Bananas or Corey versus Bananas or Corey versus Fessy. But it just was very lame.
He had an excuse though, Jenna.
And I understand that the girls wanted their revenge on Michelle because she turned their vote on them. I get it, but it was like, girls, there's also bigger fish to fry. Like, we don't have to get Michelle out this second. Like, we don't know what the challenge is the final is going to be. Is it every person for themselves? Because if so, then you probably, there's bigger fish to fry at this point. Like, go for a heavy guy. Why are you just letting these guys let it be a girl day and just like rolling over?
I agree with you, Jenna. And even on the girls' end, there's bigger fish to fry. Like, if you complete control the numbers, the guys don't care. They'll do what you say. If you say, we'll keep you safe next week, they could have made some power moves. They could have had it be Tori versus Michaela or something instead of like, it's not like I think Cassidy's such a layup or anything, but it's like you're going to get rid of the two smallest girls. We already know you started your strong girl. You think you guys are the strongest. That's what you're going to do with your big win, your big underdog win when you finally have this power, is make it a girls' day and go for the smallest two girls. Like, it just wah, wah, which is where I feel like the vets are vets for a reason. In strategy, like you do the good ones like Wes and Bananas and stuff, there is some strategy to it, and you have to have a little bit of a killer instinct. Not you don't have to be a horrible person. I think Michelle has that killer instinct. It's like, yep, sorry, I made a vote out of self-interest for what I thought was the best thing. Fuck off. Michaela does when she almost put in Tori. You can't just be like, okay, whatever, and cry because someone you betrayed. Again, the word betrayed thrown around a little fast and loose here. I don't know if Michelle betrayed them last week. Like, I think you have to look up betrayal in the dictionary. It doesn't mean like didn't do what she said she'd do. Anyway, I just feel like those people are a little soft. I'm sorry. Their gameplay is a little weaker, and it got proven when they had the power this week. And it's like, being like,
because I also wonder, had Michelle not turned her vote last week, would she have gone down as the girl vote this week? Still very likely, honestly. She probably would have. And I think all she did was give them the perfect excuse to say her name, but she probably was going to be said anyway. So she's still, I don't know. I think if I'm her, you still have to stand by your decision in the previous episode to not vote with the Survivor girls, because I think you're the second to last on their list. It's Cassidy, you. Yeah.
In their strong girl alliance, it's like, you didn't betray her. That's like saying they betrayed her. It's stupid. Desi and Janelle went down a notch for me this episode. Like, again, Janelle's like the Josh of the girls. Like, I feel like she's just sort of not been eliminated, but she hasn't won or done anything this season.
Yeah. And she did really good in the challenge day, though. She was the first.
She's always good, but she never wins. She's always fine. She never wins. I don't think she has any good strategy. I think, again, we don't see the whole thing, but gosh, the melodrama of the way they were treating Michelle. And again, I'm here for it. I like it, but it's like the lies, Michelle. Like, it was like a soap opera, and it's like, because she didn't vote for Tori, oh well. And it was so heavily dramatic that it was just funny.
So
Yeah.
let's talk about these girls. Bring to the top. Desi and Chanel apologize to Tori, and I write down, whatever, girls, you made your moves, live in that. So that is to piggyback what you said earlier, Pamela. That's the basic thing I got out of it. I do, at least Michelle, who I'm not a huge fan of in this game, at least when she said, yeah, I voted for the vets, like with the vets this time, that's what I wanted to do. And I'm
That's
living
where
in
my
that.
numbers have been. You
I
bitches
can respect
haven't
that
been.
more. That's
Yeah,
all.
me too.
Yeah, I wonder though, like, what should you do there though? Because these are anonymous votes. In Michelle's case, it's very obvious that
So
she was
that's
the
why
one
I think
that
she
went
reacted
against
that
them.
way.
But I don't know. I was kind of thinking when Tori went in there, and I had to play like opposition to myself in my own head, because I'm thinking first Tori goes in the room, and of course I love a confrontation. It's reality TV, right? So Tori's like, okay, so is anybody gonna say who did it? Like, what's going on here? But also in my head, I'm like, but they don't have to, Tori. They don't have to. This is an anonymous vote. This is a game. No one's entitled to having to know who voted where. That's just what playing in a competition game show is like. But then I remembered Tori did make an agreement, right? She made the agreement, or I don't know if it's an alliance. I don't know how many weeks it was supposed to last. So there's a lot of unknowns with this. It feels like it's a very flimsy agreement, but I guess from her perspective, it's like, hey, we worked something out. You're not supposed to say my name. But at the same time, there's only two other girls.
Right. It's too late for these late in the game, not even handshake alliances where it's like, well, we're the strongest, we'll have the best whatever chance of getting to a final if we protect each other. That was like a conversation. I wouldn't even say an agreement. And it was true. Well, there were still other people to pick off. You don't want to put in strong people that you might not win against. Sure, makes sense. Good for everybody. That wasn't some sacrifice of, I did this for you, I kept you safe. Like, no one kept anyone safe. It was one elimination that you guys kind of were like, how about Cassidy again? It wasn't that bold and brave. And another thing was because the guys had I think this is where, a good offense is the best defense sometimes. Like when you're full of shit, you just throw it back. Which in real life, kids, that's not the way to communicate. But in reality TV, I think these people were way too soft and like, I'm sorry I did you wrong, Tori. They should have been like, well, we're sorry we said your name, down to the nitty gritty, where, you know what I mean? Like, sorry. And Michelle.
Yeah, well, say it like that, though.
Fuck you. Yeah, you guys,
well,
Michelle should have slung more shit at them.
I just think Desi is a really good competitor when it comes to the games, but when it comes to the politics, the way that she what does she think Tori's going to do to her that she finds? Look, there's not a lot of people left in this game, and she's like on her hands, and he's like, I'm so sorry I had to say your name. Oh my God.
It's not my character. It's
honestly
in a competition.
I honestly think Desi can beat Tori and stuff. I don't think Tori is this unstoppable.
Doesn't have the heart though.
Well, that's one thing. I'm just saying based on if they had to do a hall brawl against each other. I know Tori's tough, and I think Tori would win, but I don't think that Desi is this competitor. I think that Chanel is not that great. I think that Michelle is not that great. I think Desi's a great competitor. So for her to bow down to Tori as if I'm so afraid to go against you, I just don't buy it. I think Desi can beat Tori.
I think so too. And I think she, similar to your point, Pam, must have imposter syndrome or something, because there's just something about her confidence. She's been a little bit emotional this season, which we've seen, but there's nothing wrong with that. Being emotional, you're in this house, you don't have phones, you don't have anything, you're just in an incubator. And of course it's going to be so hard to process your emotions most of the time. But Desi, like you're saying, Dan, is so good and so strong and so athletic that if she just had a little bit more if she knew that, whether it was confidence or whatever that she's lacking, then she could be such a force. But there's something, there's a bit of a softness, which isn't a problem, but I guess when you're on a game show, it kind of is.
Did you ladies see the confessional they pulled up of Desi after she had voted for Tori and then said she was so sorry for not for basically lying to her? They pull a confessional up that says Desi goes, oh, and I'm not a liar, so I'm like, oh my God, it's just so silly. We're all it's a game show, you gotta lie sometimes. What are we doing here? It's okay, Desi, everything's gonna be all right. You can be a liar you're trying to win a lot of money. All right,
and the intangibles, we have our 5 things, our skill set to win the challenge, and then the intangible is Like there's these great competitors that don't win. And I do think you have to, I don't have it. I would never, I'd be like, at the end of the day, like you have to like want it in the heart. Like I'd be like, I don't know, your team can win. I don't care. Like in competitive sports, like I'm competitive about certain things, but I don't have that like, I'll destroy you. Like that Tori has when you switch it on. Like, I don't care if I'm going against my best friend. I don't care if I'm going against whatever, or if my boyfriend's on that team, I'm going to like give it my all. There's something that these people have, a drive to win that you need to have. And I don't know. I do think it's a little imposter. We've seen Desi have some ups and downs and that's fine. But I think certain people just don't really care that much. It's like, yeah, not that she doesn't care, but
I think she cares. I think she totally cares, actually. She comes from a competitive background, but I think in terms of like social scenarios, she is really thoughtful, sensitive, loyal type of person. And people are we've seen this in the last few seasons, are having a really hard time disconnecting that from playing a competition game show.
Last week
really
she
are
was
just
so mad at Michaela for not putting Tori in. And this week she's crying because she defied Tori. It's like you and Tori are not in an alliance. You had that conversation. I get it.
Well, they had an agreement, but
self-serving. But it was
an agreement that only can go so far when there's literally 10 people left in the game. Sorry, Tor, there's not a lot of people left. I like the agreement. Like I liked agreeing with you 6 episodes ago, but we don't have a lot of people left. Sorry about that.
And honestly, Desi's probably scared too to go into elimination with Tori now, because once Tori figures out you said her name, and if she wins a daily challenge, then she's going to say you and you're going to go down. I mean, everybody's scared of elimination, so there's that fear too.
And she wins a lot. Like she's good. That's no, I get all the plays that were made, and I don't mind. This is where I don't mind people being emotional. I don't mind any of that. I understand, again, I guess the house gets you, you're there, you're in a fishbowl, it's your whole world, but it's like, why are you so upset? Tori's not your alliance. You're not a bad person. You didn't betray. There's a difference between lying, like, I would never do it, pinky swear, like, I promise you on whatever, and going back on something like that, and like making your best interest move that anyone smart would do. There's a very big difference in these games between being a liar, like a bald-faced liar, and setting someone up and stabbing in the back, and it's like, well, what am I gonna do? My best friends or you or the weak girl? Like
we talk about the 5 assets that you brought up, Pam, and one of them is politics. And we don't put enough emphasis on, in politics, you have to lie sometimes. It's not real life. This is a game, and you got, well, okay, I guess in real life too, when you're doing politics, politicians lie all the time too, but you have to sometimes lie to get to the end. I mean, and it is what it is. And Desi's treating, that's why her political game, I'm sorry, like, it's not, like, you have to be okay with you put Tori in, you live in that world instead of apologizing to her the way that you are, hoping that she'll forgive you so she doesn't put you in now. It is what it is. You did it. You just lay in the bed now.
And there are lying, like, that I do think, like, ew, you have bad character, you suck. Like, there are different ways of lying. And then there's gameplay. You can't just be honest, like, yes, I'm going to vote for you, Tori. That's just stupid. Like, there's...
and I guess that's what I mean by lying in this type of game. That's okay. It is what it is.
Or eluding or evading or whatever. But I do think it's not villainous or I feel so bad, or I don't think Desi showed poor character.
Well, and one more thing before we go on to the game, the daily challenge, we saw a lot of lying in that fight between Michaela and Michelle. That I cannot wait to break that down, because I'm sorry, but Michaela's a little liar, but that's working for her political game. So there you go. Well, we'll get into it.
So let's do the challenge, and then so we can talk about that.
I know. All right. So the challenge is called Brain Squeeze. It's in a fort. I thought it would be cool to do. I did not enjoy watching it. Okay, and I'll get your ladies' opinions about this. I like a video game back in the day where it scrolled left to right, kind of like the old challenge, where you just watch them up on a platform, try to get from point A to point B. You could see some people fall, see some people successful. Great. The new video games are now 3D, and you're all immersed in this world. I don't know which way's left and which way's right. Well, that's how this challenge feels to me. I don't know where anything is. I don't know whether to like root for someone to go down that aisle or down that alleyway. I don't know. I don't like challenges like this. Bring me back to the old school challenge where I just watch something in a linear thing where it's point A to point B and I can see everything on the screen at the same time. And now I'll let you ladies talk about how you like the challenge or not.
Go
Pam?
ahead, Jenna. Oh, it's
You
fine.
both don't even want to talk about it, Pam.
I mean, I liked Michaela's strategy. She was smart, and obviously, and I feel bad for Bananas because I thought he had a good point that when you get used to these things, the personality kind of the challenge, you are like, okay, he sort of I thought he had it figured out, and everyone deferred to him so easily that no one decided. So it's like, look, they deserve whatever.
Here's my issue, real quick again. When you have to have confessionals drive me watching the challenge, I have an issue with it. Instead of just watching like, oh, I saw them do really well. Oh, they fell. They must have not done great. I didn't know what was going on. And you have to have confessionals to rely on what's happening in the game. I don't like that. But yeah.
Right. I couldn't, that's one of those, I'm like, blah, blah, blah. Who's got their pieces? What's going on?
Who might win? I don't know who's winning. Great.
I don't know anything. Yeah. It's just people running back and forth. And then they say like 4, 7, but I didn't mind the confessional part in terms of the challenge. Yeah, I was like, all right.
We needed it to tell, like, Michaela had to tell that story in a confessional, or we wouldn't have even known that she did that to Bananas. Like,
I mean,
that's an issue for me sometimes. Right. I want to see it happen in real time. Someone screw someone else over like that. I want to be able to see it happening in the daily challenge. I don't have to be told that it happened. That's all.
Yeah.
I actually, nothing hit me as disliking it as I was watching it. I liked it, not loved it.
I like the results too, Jenna. That was the other reason I loved it, though. I like the results.
I do love that Michaela did not tell Bananas that there was an extra room at the end of the long corridor with bags. Phenomenal. He thought he had cracked the case. He's like, there's only 7. I love that Chris is the only person to know it. Desi hooks it up, tells Chris, so he's the only person with that information. So this entire time I'm like, yes, this is finally going to be Chris's to win. But then Chris does something, even the most soft of anybody on this episode, is he actually tells the rest of the guys how many bags he has when asked. Bananas is like, how many bags is that? And Chris is like, oh, I got 8. So I was so mad at him in that moment. I was like, what are you doing, dude? You don't need to do anything for these guys. Like, they will throw you in. You are their sacrificial lamb. You owe them nothing. Do not tell them what's happening in this challenge. But then it also dawned on me, like, he probably doesn't know that they don't know. Like, maybe he didn't realize that was like his own secret information and that was his edge in the game for him to keep. Maybe
of course,
he just like,
how could he not though, Jenna? That seems so obvious, right?
He couldn't have. It's like rookie move, I guess he's and again, at that point, thank goodness, it was already he already had
all the pieces there. It didn't affect, we still got the same result, right?
Maybe he should have been. I don't know. I agree that it's like, I don't know. Like,
there's a way to brush that off, though. Am I right? Like, you can be like, oh my God, I don't even know, man. I'm so confused. I don't even know how many I have at this point.
Why can't you simply say, or why can't you simply say, I'm not telling you?
That's great too. Sure.
We're not playing together.
Everyone's already going against them anyways.
Every week. Chris doesn't actually even owe them an explanation.
Right, like, yo no habla inglés.
Like, figure it out. Figure it out. You're Johnny Bananas. You figure it out. Yeah. I don't have to tell you shit. You should think that way, but I guess he hasn't been on the challenge long enough. I almost feel like it's like when your boss calls you and you just want to like say the right answer so quickly, you blurt it out, and then you're like, wait, I should have thought about that a little bit more. I get like the fully worded, thought out answer, not just like the, oh yeah, this, that, I feel like maybe that happened to Chris, or he was like, 8. And then after he was like, shit, why'd I say anything?
Right.
But
it's like not
I couldn't forgive him for that. And then I had to chalk it up to, he must not have known that the other guys thought there was 7. It's just the only way I can make peace with it.
I can forgive him. Jenna, it's really interesting hearing your take because, again, I came in so myopic about it being a girl's day that none of this like aggravated me as much as it would if I had been expecting.
I got it in my head.
With the guys. So yeah, you got it. I was like following the path that was laid, so it didn't bother me. But I get your frustration. I
really got it in my head that I was like, yes, this is gonna mix everything up. Like, here we go. Now we can get a strong guys elimination, or Chris and Desi are in power. This is going to be awesome. Like, it's not going to be the same old. And that's why I was just so let down when it was. And I just feel like it annoyed me so much when we got back into the house after the challenge and we see Bananas and Michaela, and this is what sets up the fight with Michelle. And Michaela's like, I really want it to be a girl's day. And Bananas is like, oh, well, don't worry, girl. Like, that's already the plan. And I'm like, but you guys said like, well, how are you so power
They
hungry?
will get their plan. Yeah.
How are you so sure? Like, yeah, our plan's gonna work. Like, it's gonna be a girl's day, but it's like, but you guys aren't even in power, and that's what annoys me so much.
But power only gets you 2 votes, though. It only gets you 1 guy and 1 girl, and then it's up for grabs. It's not like they could vote for 2 girls or 2 guys. So
That's true.
if you
Yeah,
have the
that's
numbers
true.
in the house at this point, it really doesn't matter who those 2 people pick. They need to pick 2 people they both really want out because there's no guarantee if it's guys or girls each week.
Yeah,
It's
you're
true.
right.
It's
Thanks for. Wasn't even thinking that way. That's so true. It's almost
Yeah.
like power is really just immunity, is all it is. It's like,
Well,
you
immunity's
can
great too, though,
actually-
Jenna. Immunity's
Yeah.
great.
Which is why I feel like it's also moronic of the girl. Like, I just feel like they're short-sighted. They don't have good strategy because even I would want it to be as far away from me. If I was a girl, even if it's like, oh, secretly, you know, Tori's gonna put in McKay. I don't know, but you never know, and you don't want to go there. So have it be a guy's day. What the hell do you care? You're
I know. I guess it was annoying.
distant from risk as possible. The guys
just
have wanted it to be a girls' day
understand.
because they're smart. Yeah, if you make it vote all girls, you're less likely to be. It was really dumb of them to be like, we don't like Michelle. Let's make it a girls' day so we can send Michelle home. I mean, they got what they wanted, so I guess it all worked out. But it still, again, that was stupid too. They made a lot of like, I feel like Michaela, who's usually it's the brains. Also, it's like, I guess she knew, as she felt safe enough. To me, I feel like even if I was so safe, I wouldn't want it to be a girls' day. Because you never.
This season's also a little confusing because, like, what if they made it a girls' elimination every week and then there's like a million guys in the house, only 2 girls left? Like, how did they balance it to get it to go that way? Was it producer influence, or I don't understand how it's, because it's going to come down to next week. We see on the Next On. Did you ladies watch the Next On the challenge?
No.
Yeah, but I can't really remember everything.
It's a hall. It's a hall brawl,
Okay.
and it's definitely. Do you want me to tell you the gender that's in there?
No.
All right.
I mean, I remember one person in particular when we got a soundbite from them being emotional.
Oh.
I'm just saying, like, it's somehow going to work out perfectly that it's the same amount of guys and girls.
If it's gonna be Josh versus Chris, you can say that. Because
Oh, we
Josh
don't know
cried today and said he wanted to go against. He is the biggest idiot in the whole world.
Well,
I love that.
I mean, I do you want me to tell you who I think? I mean, they showed it so quickly, but I can tell you.
They fake out. Also, I don't trust.
All right, so then let me tell you who I think it is. Then, if you think it's a
Tell me.
fake out, I
do.
think it's going to be Josh versus Fessy. I think
so,
that's
too.
what I saw, and they showed it so quick.
We
it was
only have to do hall brawls.
It's so unfair, right? Like, what is
Fessy
that?
in the hall brawl.
I know. I agree. It's kind of garbage that Fessy gets another hall brawl.
His cousin is in production or something.
He's
Yeah, that's like Tori doing vegan shit. It's like, why do you get Fessy?
Can I? Oh, by the
thing
way,
to do?
can I say one more thing about the Daily Challenge? Did you see the tower that they had to put together and how like dumb it was? Like, I don't even like what was. Oh, wait, go on. Sorry, Jenna. Go ahead.
The puzzle
no,
just
I
stack
was-
stupid shit. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was going to add to your comment and say, but then do you see how many people kept asking for a check when it was so clearly wrong?
Like, to me, let's break this down because I know there's a lot of people out there that want to know gameplay strategy. I don't know everybody. How about you have it line up evenly all the way up? Fessy had his, like, I'm like, Fessy, how do you think that that's the right way to build that? And he's asking for checks. Fessy can be
All
as
of
strong
that.
as he wants. This dude cannot figure out puzzles. I swear. He's like, I'm good at puzzles. I don't think you're that great, Fessy. His tower was jagged. I'm like, dude, flip it around. There's only 2 ways it can go, Jenna. Just turn it so it lines up. Like, how hard is this?
It was everyone. Everyone's like, check. There's a foot off to the left.
Like, what are
check,
we
foot
doing?
off to the
When there's a
right.
picture though, it's like make something, but this is like Jenga. Like, I don't know if it
But
doesn't.
it only
fall.
looked like there was 2 ways to put this thing together. Either like you have to line them up. They had like long rows.
Grids.
It was a grid. So if the grid doesn't fit this way, flip it 180.
I don't know,
It
but
had to fit.
everybody was doing that. Like Michaela did too. So maybe there's something we're missing because
You
it was
know, and
also
that's the problem with this show. They don't show us a lot of how it's like. We don't really know. They probably maybe some pieces were bigger and they had to be at the bottom and they had to go up at an angle. I don't know, but it looked like
Right. They didn't ever explain it.
But whatever
one would
Fessy
think-
was trying to get checked looked so wrong. I'm like, dude, how do you think that is going to be the right answer? Sorry, there we go.
Oh, that's
Okay.
great. It was a great
Michaela
part.
versus
Also,
Michelle.
wait, honorable mention also when Chris wins, Bananas becomes such a little brown noser.
Best friends now.
You Bananas, you little suck up.
such a suck,
Chris,
embarrassing.
Also what he says too, it isn't even just like, hey, good job, man. Like, way to pay attention to the details, Chris.
Yeah. Well, you know what? See, and that's like if I was Chris, like that's what's missing too, though. Like I wish like Chris said, F you, Bananas, and then a huge fight breaks out. Like, come on.
Yeah, Bananas got real Eddie Haskell. Like takes a licking and keeps on ticking, Chris.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Like, you wizard,
Like,
Chris.
right, like
Gee shucks, I'll get him on
yeah,
the next
exactly.
time.
Like shucky darns. Yeah, it's just like embarrassed. Like, oh, Bananas.
Yeah,
come
that was so silly. All
on.
right.
You want your buddy Bananas going in, do ya? Nobody wants a Bananas going in.
Yeah, exactly. Sounds like a Disney Channel transition. Like,
Yeah. Nobody better lay a banana on me. Yeah, like a weird cat. Yeah.
laugh track. Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of transitions, Michaela versus Michelle. Who wants to go first?
Take it away.
I'll go. I mean, I'll go first if no one wants to. I got so much to say.
Why don't you set the tone?
Okay. Well, Michelle took the words right out of my mouth when she says that Michaela is all high and mighty and better than anyone else when she's doing the exact same crap that everyone else is doing. That's lying and all that kind of stuff. And then I am astonished by this. Like Michelle calls her out. So Michaela calls Michelle out for stuff. And Michelle says, yes, you're right. I do these things, whatever. But then Michelle decides to call out Michaela for stuff. And Michaela blatantly says, no, I don't do that kind of stuff. When she did, I wrote it down. Michaela says that that Michelle needs to have accountability for her actions. So Michelle has accountability for her actions. But then Michaela refuses to have any accountability for her actions over the season, and I lost it. I said, Michaela, you are a great competitor, but I can't stand you as a person, and that's where I'll leave it.
What did Michaela not take accountability for?
I wrote it down too. Hold on.
I know at some point she straight up lied and was like, "Am I lying?" Yes, but
about the Tory. I think it was about the Tory. We watched. We got to cover this earlier. I think it was about the Tory stuff that she wouldn't take accountability to saying that she wanted Tory in there. Oh no, I never said Tory. It was a suggestion on something else. I'm like, no, you definitely went to the girls and said you wanted Tory in, and Michelle tried to call her out on it, and she denied it in front of Bananas and everybody.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
This is. I feel like this was so. I felt. I love Michaela, so I loved it for Michaela. I also really like Michelle, and there's nothing more fucking frustrated than being frustrated and heated. It's like the version of like calm down, and someone like sitting there high and mightily. I
can't stand it. Right.
Calm, cool as a cucumber, being like, "Boy, you are freaking out." Like there's nothing that makes you freak out more. So I feel like Michelle actually did a good job of like not going fucking crazy, because I would lose it, and I cry when I'm like frustrated, which then makes me so mad, because it's like I'm not crying. Like you make me cry because I'm like upset. It's like, oh, it's just like a response to that kind of level of frustration. So I thought it was great to watch on TV. I felt so bad for Michelle because I've been there. We've all been there. And the smug Michaela was smug and high and mighty and sitting there
pissing me off. Oh my God.
Trouble. And it's fun when you get to be in that position. And it's like where it's like, I'm untouchable. I can do whatever I want. You can't do anything. And it's so horrible when you are on the defense and anything you say is going to be.
I'm interested to see how people in the comments or just, other fans of the show will feel about the fight too, because I agree with you guys. I can't help but feel bad for Michelle. And I feel like she got this edit to make her look crazy. And I feel like this has happened to her in the past too, where what she's actually saying is true and valid, but I guess it's the delivery of it that people are writing her off so quickly. And Michaela is so collected. And Michaela
knows what she's doing. I mean, that's
my God. She
pushing her buttons.
But like she is twisting the hell out of the truth. Like she really is. So exactly. She for 2 weeks now has been trying to get Tori out, has been going to her line saying, I want to say Tori's name. That's who I'm going for. The time is now. And this is the past 2 weeks, and she just hasn't been able to do it. Because whoever she's partnered with, the other girls don't want to do it, whatever, the chips just don't fall, but she's been wanting to do it. So exactly like you said, Dan, once Michelle calls her out on it, all of a sudden she says, no, I didn't say I wanted to name a certain girl. I said I wanted to have a say in the girl vote. And Michelle was like, and who was that girl vote? Expecting her to own up to it and say Tori. And she said, I didn't name anybody.
Can't
And
stand
That's
it.
such a smart
Oh
game
God,
plan.
No,
That's
and
where
yes,
it's like,
Pamela, you're right. She's
Right,
playing a great
Michaela's-
game.
yeah,
But
she's
as
playing
a
a great game.
viewer, she's pissing me off. She's
I love
playing
it.
a great game. And it's so smart because she only told the girls that she was thinking Tori. So you have all the guys in this room like Bananas, and Bananas doesn't know who's telling the truth. And he's obviously siding with Michaela because she's calm and reasonable. And Michelle's freaking out. Why am I going to side with Michelle? And
Right.
Michaela's a better player, and Bananas knows that. So
Oh,
he wants
yeah.
to team with Michaela. It's a whole thing.
Michaela's spinning her pasta, literally, like, well, why are you so mad? Like,
Yeah,
I'm
I
not-
don't. Michaela's becoming somewhat of a villain to me. Good for her, but not. I don't want her
I
to win
see.
at this
I love
point.
it. I feel like that's where Desi needs to understand there's playing the game, not like an idiot. I don't think Michaela has a poor character because she's doing this. I don't think it has anything to do with her character in life or like whether she's
I said it earlier. You have to
honorable
lie to
person.
win on this show, and
Yes.
this is my example of what I was saying earlier. She's
Exactly.
making the lying work for what
And
she has to do.
It's like, I didn't say that. I said I wanted to say. It's just
And
twisted
Desi
the
needs to
fact.
be okay with the lying too, from her
Guess what?
perspective.
That's
Yeah.
what our justice
felt
system
like
is.
I was learning how to manipulate. Like I was like, oh, I
Right.
have to keep this in my back pocket because the way that she, again, like I said, like twisted it, she's lying, but the way that she's phrasing it, and you can see the shock on Michelle that Michelle's almost second guessing, she's being
Right.
gaslit.
Like behind the Twilight
right?
Zone, right? That's where you're like, what? We all know, like that's where you feel crazy, right? It's like,
I'm like,
oh
I
my
need
God.
to learn how to do this. I need
And-
to learn
Well,
how to
and see,
just
that's
I
where
love both of those girls
manipulate.
too.
I wish Michelle didn't stop talking to Michaela, okay, and either started talking directly to the guys, Bananas, and would say, Bananas, follow me right now, and I will bring you more proof of this. Instead of freaking out this way, she needs to calm herself down, talk to Bananas directly. Why not? What's up, Pam?
Because Bananas doesn't give a shit. What does he care if Michelle and McKay? For him, it's all just popcorn.
Then why is Michelle free? Why is Michelle even having this conversation with Michaela? Then she wants to prove a point.
This was pre her being voted in, right? I think at this point, Michelle was trying to.
This is right. She walked into
this is pre, and Michelle's worried about getting voted in, probably.
Right. So Michelle's having this fight to try and expose that, like, okay, what she did wasn't really that bad, and she shouldn't. The die was cast, as they say. Like there was nothing that was going to happen. That's why it was and Michaela knew it, which is where Michelle should have saved her breath and her energy and just walked away. But you have to fight. I agree. Like I understand everybody's. That's why I kind of loved it because I like both these girls. I liked both of the way they both handled it. I thought it was cool. I felt bad for Michelle and I felt psyched for Michaela because that is a fun position to be in when you get to be the like and you can rib someone and kind of poke at them and they can't do anything because their numbers are against them and it's just the way it is.
I'm starting to, not that Michaela's anywhere near this challenge competitor, but she's giving me Bananas vibes with the way that she's manipulating. And I always thought Bananas was the villain. I always was rooting for Wes over Bananas. It was always a thing. Now I'm rooting for everyone else over Michaela. I give props to Bananas and Michaela for their gameplay, but it didn't mean I had to like them all those years. And right now I am not liking Michaela and what she's doing.
Love her. And she reminds me, it's funny you say that, more of Wes in the master manipulation, which isn't quite, because Bananas kind of lied and bullied. And when he was the real top dog for all those years, he had his minions. He kind of stayed safe by manipulating. But Wes manipulated in a more, I would say, Michaela-esque way, where it is like, sorry, it worked out the way I want it. You know what I mean? Like you're not.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I'm not mad at her about it. Put it that way. Even though she's going after people I like, and I knew she was manipulating and stirring and all that shit during this fight, but I thought it was great. I think Michaela's great. I think she's a super good asset to the show, and she's made it a lot more interesting than a lot of other people have.
I think it works out in Michaela's favor too, that it was so clear, you know, because you get a ball next to your name when you go down to elimination for the hopper. So there's kind of like numeric evidence for Michaela to kind of say, well, Michelle was supposed to be the fourth ball for Tori, and instead she wasn't there. Her ball was somewhere else. So it's kind of easy for Michaela to use that as a way to tell the guys, you know, she obviously voted not with us, but and I don't think the girls, if Desi and Chanel were in there, they wouldn't have sold Michaela out. You know, they wouldn't have said, no, actually, she has been wanting to get Tori out for 2 weeks. You know, they would have had Michaela's back.
I don't know what would, that's such an interesting thought though, Jenna. I don't know what would have happened, because you don't want to get on Michaela's bad side, I guess. But and Michelle was the number that was going in anyways. Yeah, they don't.
At this point, they're mad at Michelle. Also, the bottom line, if Michelle, okay, so if we could say, what could she have done better in this fight? She could have said, basically, like, I guess, sorry, I'm trying to organize my thoughts. It's like, Michelle didn't really do anything wrong, but somehow,
well, she voted
against the alliance that Michaela's now hanging out with. Michaela's the one that was backstabbing them, not Michelle. Michelle protected them. So if there was a way for Michelle to get out of it, guys, all of you dudes in this room, I was loyal to the vets. You guys, Tori and me. These girls want you out. That's the bottom line. So, like, do with that information what you will.
Basically,
but it's so convoluted too.
Like led by Banana Show, because they don't give a shit, because it doesn't matter if it's going to be a girls' day, which all these girls and guys are like, a girls' day. It's
but
like,
look, one more thing, it's kind of convoluted because the girls made the deal with Tori. Michaela was kind of talking with Bananas, right? So they're giving Michelle all this crap for kind of working with the vets or whatever, but everyone's kind of making deals with the vets too. So it's like everyone is, it's just that one vote gave them a random ass excuse to go after Michelle. Michelle was the least aligned with that group of the Garden Society, whatever the hell they called themselves. And I know it's not Garden Society, but I thought that was funny.
I like that.
All right,
that's why I felt so bad for Michelle in this situation, because yeah, she really didn't do anything wrong, but the situation was so far gone and so manipulated against her that she couldn't have said anything, even though she was saying the truth. Like, Michaela was just such a better arguer and so much better at manipulating the situation, that Michelle was just like losing, I guess, because she was telling the truth, and Michaela wasn't, you know?
Yes.
Totally. So Michelle and Josh are the nominations. I'm going to say, now see, I love that Pam. I'm going to say one nice thing about Josh so that Pamela can then go and trash on him, because I know that she's been dying to do this all episode. I will say this. I thought Josh made a good move when he was talking with Michelle, and he doesn't tell Michelle who he wants to see in an elimination. Because if he tells her what guy he wants to see, then that could cut ties and make him have a guy that's an enemy, and Josh knows that it's probably going to be a girls' day. So I thought Josh made a good move saying, look, I don't want to tell you who to vote for when you go into the ball hopper place. What the hell it's called, the secret vote. Secret freaking vote.
Ball hopper. I like ball hopper.
When you go do the secret vote, I'm not going to tell you who I want. Just vote with whoever you want to vote if you're going to say a guy's name, because obviously Michelle's saying a guy's name because she doesn't want to go in there. So there you go. Thought that was a good move by Josh. Yeah.
I didn't even think, no, you're right. And I should give him more credit for that being a game move, because in my head, that would just felt like a Josh, like, sensitive move. He didn't want to say anybody's name because he feels like
that could have been part of it too, Jenna.
Yeah, that's what I don't think he had someone that he like.
But he didn't.
Josh knew what was gonna. All right, now can
either way, you're right, because either way, he probably would have been fucked, right? Like,
well, counterpoint is Josh is a fucking idiot, because it was going to be Michelle. I thought was, again, who decided like honesty was like the key element of the challenge when you're a week before a finale. Like, Josh, I'm gonna have to. Everyone was overly simpy and whiny, and Michelle crying that I have to put a guy in. I get their friends, but it's like, of course you do, Michelle. What are you going to vote to see yourself in? You're okay. Trying to make it a guy's day. Don't worry, the puppet masters with Banana at the top want it to be a girl's day anyway. And the girls all fell in line with that really stupidly. And then
That's what
Gosh.
annoys me about Chris and Desi having power and not going to anything, because was your vengeance on Michelle, does that really outweigh putting in a strong guy? You know, why did it happen? I mean, I
Why
guess
did Michelle or Cassidy and Michelle and other people go to Desi and go, why does it have to be a girls' day? Let's make it a fucking guys' day. Do you like why didn't they insist on it being a guys' day? Chris had all the ammo of wanting these assholes out. He has no allegiance to these guys. And
No.
these none get either Bananas or Fessy out. Fuck that. Now I'm totally with you, Jenna. Like, what a dumbass. Why was it just like, okay, girls' day? Like maybe Cassidy will go home.
That's what I hated, was that it just was so like, it's a girl's day, it's a girl's day. It left no surprise, it left no twist, it made everything predictable, and it was like, for what? Why is it a girl's day?
Are we possibly
the guys
missing
want it to
something
be?
here?
No.
Are we possibly missing something that they're not showing us through production, where they had agreed, hey, we want, it's going to go back and forth, guys' day, girls' day. Maybe they agreed to that.
No, the girls just were short-sighted, and those girls wanted Michelle.
Okay, and the guys overheard them.
Wanted Michelle because she betrayed them with
Right.
Tori.
Bananas. Bananas and the guys overheard that, and why would they argue with that? They just went along with it. So they made a great move by getting all together. I think, did they even include Chris in that one, or say like
edited? I thought the guys.
No,
I thought the guys had already talked about it being a girls' day before.
They showed it in the opening vignettes that the guys were talking.
It was early on that they had thought that, but again,
no, the guys did it alleged the way it was spliced together for us was that the guys said we're the top. Like, great, nobody basically wants to go in against Chris at this point.
And wait, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe that the house would have been split in gender. Not that is always what matters in terms of votes, because people are going to go with their alliance. But Josh, Corey, Fessy, Bananas are the guys. And then Michelle, Michaela, Cassidy, and Tori. Oh, and Chanel. So there should have been more girls.
There were more.
Chris. You have Chris.
Girls could have just made it a guys' day.
Yes.
There was one. No. They were even with guys and girls, I think, in this episode, because there's Chris too. What about, you guys didn't say Chris?
But he has power. He doesn't get to be in the hopper.
Well, neither does Desi, though. So,
but I didn't say Desi.
Hold on, I have to write it down.
Josh, Corey, Fessy, Bananas are the guys left outside of Chris.
Josh, Corey, Fessy.
Yeah, but okay, so then there's 4 girls.
And there's 5 girls. Michelle, Michaela, Cassidy, Tori, and Chanel.
You're right. There was 9 votes.
6 girls and 5 guys.
There was 9 votes in the hopper. So there's 11 people on the show. There's 9 votes in the hopper.
6 girls and 5 guys.
Yeah. So the girls outnumbered the guys.
Even if all the guys voted for Cassidy, that's 4 votes for Cassidy. And yeah, the girls could have put 5 votes on one of the.
Yeah, Chris should have taken us. Chris needs.
But it would still been a 50-50 shot, though. There was never going to be a guarantee that it was a girls' day or a guys' day. You know what I mean?
Well,
but they could have fought a little harder than.
Well, it was going to be a full girls' day. The only reason somebody gets a ball on their name, that being Chanel, was because Michelle was just trying to do anything to make it. Or no, sorry, Michelle probably put
Josh put it on.
Sorry. Michelle put it on Corey. He was the only guy named. That was her attempt to try to make it a guy's day so that she wouldn't have to go in. So yes, you only need 1 ball, but when you have 1 ball versus 8, right? It was Cassidy with 7 votes and then Chanel with 1. But so essentially, yeah, they can make it a girl's day. I mean, you can try. There's always a chance of that 1 ball working out, but you can manipulate it if you have the numbers,
I, for one, am happy to care this much. I haven't cared in so long about this stupid show.
This episode, for some reason, got under my skin. Exactly. It was like
it's frustrating when people have a chance to make a big move finally, especially like this week. Michelle was the girl's enemy, but it's like Chris should be like, fuck those dudes. I've earned my place. Who do I want to not be in the final with? Fucking Bananas and Fessy or whatever.
Pam, that's exactly what I wished happened. Like, I thought that this was going to be Chris's episode. Like, I was so happy he finally won. He finally got power. I was like, let's do something with it then. Like, yes, he's going to throw a guy in. And that basically just nothing.
Okay, great. He did throw a guy in. He threw Josh in, ladies. You're like, he couldn't go down there and put
But they
5
had
balls in the hopper
predetermined
too.
that it was going to be a girl day. He had basically thrown in the towel already.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why he didn't. Why am I going to make enemies with Fessy or Corey or Bananas when I know it's going to, the people are voting more women.
He's with the Survivor girls. So I wish that he would have been able to group up with them and say, well, ladies, can we make this a guys' day since I'm safe and we're in an alliance together?
Well,
like
he should have gone and talked with Michaela then, because that was where it was going to get turned around. Desi had no power either as far as the hopper votes. So, and Desi and him seem to be like, they made it sound, at least in this storyline, that they're each other's number ones now. They're back to being, tight, which I'm like, okay, you threw that in there as a little placement to make it sound greater when they won the daily together. But it was really just, come on, that could have been, that conversation could happen 3 weeks prior. Who the hell knows?
Something else that also annoys me is like, why is Cassidy so left high and dry in this Survivor Girls alliance?
They don't.
It is all Survivor Girls left in this house outside of Tori.
It's already been.
She's not tied in. She's not tied in like the other girls for some reason.
My question is to what has it been like that for her since the beginning of the show?
I think it's just
on Survivor. Why has she never been able to have their bubble of protection with her?
I have one answer. I have an answer. I don't know if it's right, but she is rooming with Tori, who is not in that alliance. So maybe they're worried that if those two are getting too close, why do I want her in the garden party? Because she might be telling Tori stuff when we're out of the garden party meetings.
I think that it honestly is, when it was sort of a wild card, but it already happened, that Wes voted for her in the green team when it was still teams at that point, and then it became Cassidy. I super think, unfortunately, once everyone, that you already have that blood on your hands, like, what's Cassidy going to be mad at everybody in the whole house not have an alliance? Like, at that point, it's just the easiest.
Someone can tell us in the comment section if you know why Cassidy why was she the bottom of the totem pole?
Supposed to be, sort of. That's what
I'm saying. But why was she so far
off by?
Some people are just better friends. They're just better friends with other people. That's all it is, I think.
They consider themselves strong. So they're not that scared of her, obviously.
You were on a show that someone else was on. I don't even know if it was on the same exact season. Why do y'all have to be aligned? Like, why do I have to be best friends with someone because they were on Big Brother and I was on Big Brother?
It's very stupid.
That part doesn't make sense to me. Yeah, like, I get Tyler and Fessy were on the same season. If they became really good friends there, maybe. But like you were about to say, Pam, they weren't even friends on the show. So why they have to be aligned? Why does it have to be that way?
Josh and Fessy weren't even on the same season. So it's like the fact they've been on seasons of the challenge together. The fact that it was like their Big Brother. It's like that Big Brother. They weren't even on Big Brother together. Why would they? At least on the Challenger all together.
It's another way to try to work your social game to survive longer in the show. We saw how well Michelle did it until tonight. She was playing both sides. It came and bit her in the ass. And I'm telling you, it made up for a lot of the other things that she's very weak in, which is, to me, everything else on the show. I don't think Michelle's that great. I think she's played a great social game and made it far.
And she's good. I mean, not she's good. The thing that's so funny about all this is that, like, it wasn't like they had a tight alliance. Those girls were not. It was those girls and Tori. It was the Strong Girls Alliance, which did not involve Michelle and Cassidy. So the fact that Chanel is like, how could you betray us and lie, Michelle? It's like, well, because we're not really allies in this game so much.
Yeah, like, I think that they used her as a number for 1 week, and then she didn't actually give them the number they wanted. And now it's like, off with her head, burn her at the stake. She's done.
And we've seen it a million times. Why would you vote someone different if you've already burnt a bridge with them and they keep coming back? Keep burning that bridge over and over and over again, hoping that they turn to ash and don't come back, I guess, in the show.
Yeah, Cassidy must have had a pretty bad social game, or just didn't do anything politically, like did not connect with anybody, did not make alliances with anybody, because she doesn't have an ally.
And here's the sad thing is, back in the early 2000s, they would have told us why that is. oh, she's a bitch. She's trying to steal my man. She drinks too much. There'd be some reason behind it, right? Oh, she keeps me up at night with her snoring. That's a stupid example. My God. But they
No,
don't
if
really
there's a
tell us.
snorer in my room, I'm definitely getting
Okay, there you go. But like, they don't really tell us why people aren't friends or why you're closer with someone else. It's all just like, let's just tell them what to think in the confessionals now. Like, just show me conversations happening naturally. They don't do it anymore. But that's what we have to deal with now. It is what it is. Okay,
So
let's talk about Hot Wheel, the elimination
I
tonight.
forgot we didn't even talk about the elimination.
I know. Yeah.
I thought it was really cool, really unique, really fun to watch. I actually liked this.
I thought Cassidy did good too. She was like, I'm gonna let her. I thought she had a real strategy where it's like, how much strategy can you have?
That's why I'm confused why people are like, oh, Cassie's like maybe on one of the weaker girls. I think she's proven herself so much.
A very good solo competitor. She's not big and strong. I mean, if it's a hall brawl, you want Cassidy as who you're going against. If you're Tori and Desi and Michaela, if you're a strong, you want Cassidy and Michelle because they're stronger than them. But if it's Cassidy's a strategy
at eliminations, because she has not won any daily challenges, so that's what's also causing this. So it sucks that she's going in elimination after elimination, but at the same time, it's like, but you're also not winning. You do have to win, and that's
my argument to that is, Chanel's not winning. Michelle's not winning, but they just have a better social game.
Yeah,
like, they're all the same to me.
Desi and Michaela, she's protected.
Like, I would put Cassidy over Chanel and Michelle right now, as far as just because she's had to prove herself and done it.
Too.
Like, whatever. I don't know.
No, I think Cassidy's really been a shining, outstanding whatever on this season. She's a shining rookie who's really, and Chris, I mean, again, that's why it would have been, I don't know. Now it's funny, Jenna. Now I'm all riled up where I was like, I accepted it was what it was, but now I'm like, right, there could have been a totally different outcome.
I was like way too fired up after this episode. Yeah. I just felt like it was so easy for them to just bulldoze over Michelle, and there was like no consideration for any other route, just not even like an attempt, and that was what was kind of annoying.
But what I love, though,
she said she was going to vote a certain way and she didn't. So I'm not in their shoes. Maybe that would have pissed me off so much. Maybe I would have gone on the warpath too. I don't know. I can't say because I'm not in their shoes. So I get their perspective, but I just felt like it was too easy. It was too easy for all the guys that wanted it to be a girls' day. And Chris couldn't. I know Chris has very now that you put that in, you made it clear, Dan, is that like, even though you win, you don't really have that much power. You have very limited power and what you can actually do in the game. You made that a lot more clear, because I was like ready to blame it all on Chris. Yeah. I'm like, Chris, why are we not doing anything to win? But really,
but they could have, that all of them, not just Chris, but they could have, the Survivor girls plus Chris, the Survivor Alliance.
I mean, you could have respected Chris more.
Like, let's make it not a girls, let's make it a guys' day.
What if Chris did put Fessy in there and then went to the girls, and we saw a scene where he was saying, look, Fessy's been screwing me over. We all can vote Fessy, or you all can vote Fessy. Like, I just put his name in there, and maybe is a 50-50 shot. Maybe that would have impressed you a little bit more. But then I also think the girls would have been like, yo, Chris, you're the scapegoat this season. I'm not going to vote with you and piss off Fessy, who has a major alliance. I think there's a lot to that.
Wouldn't have, but everybody else would have. I mean, Tori's the only one I think that's super loyal to Fessy. I don't think he would. I think he would have just gone to Survivor Girls. I don't think he would have included Tori in that meeting at all. They should have strategized better. And I feel like if Tori's allegiance is to the vets, which are mainly guys at this point, it's the Survivor Girls and the vets. And if she, I think, was on the girls' side of things, or the Survivor side, or whatever, there would have been more strategy here. I just think these people don't know enough to like really like, they were mad at Michelle this week, so they wanted it Michelle, where they weren't seeing the forest for the trees, where it's like, we could all be safe, and you can beat Michelle in the final, and you can beat Cassie in the final. So like, don't be idiots.
You know what I do love, ladies, is it's episode 12, and you two are so into the challenge still. You know what I mean? And same with me, obviously, because we've all been kind of off on it the last couple seasons. we're all still very passionate about it after 12 episodes. We're mad about how decisions were made, not about how production did things necessarily, but how Chris should have put this person in, or Cassie shouldn't have to keep doing this, or whatever it is. That's we're all enjoying the season. I think that's great.
Then.
So,
I kind of want, I want Cassie to beat someone who's been continuously saying her name.
hell yeah. I want Chris and Cassie to make it to the finals, which I think they're both going to make the final. I honestly think that last episode before the final is that hall brawl, and I think it's Fessy versus Josh, and I think that means guaranteed Chris and Cassidy make it. And guess what happens? Josh again never makes a final. So that's great. What a cherry on top right there.
It was so funny when he had his freak out, because it's like, you're safe, dude.
Yeah.
Like, because you had a good social game meeting, you haven't been sent in, and you're not going to tonight because the guys are still pulling the strings, and it's going to be a girls' night. But you're declaring tonight that you want to go in against Chris no matter what next week. Okay. It's like, I wish everybody heard that and was like, I mean, it is so stupid. And for a second I was like, has Josh changed?
I really hope
we're in such a different world as them, meaning like they can kind of, I don't know what else they do for work, you know what I mean? But they can kind of use their whole off season of not being on the show to train, to practice, to get ready for the next show, that this really is like everything to them, you know? So it's hard for us to, you know, it's all so relative. Like to us, it might be
less stupid than Josh. This is everything. Take that, try and win instead of
I know, but
getting so close on a skin and a prayer. What is it? On a wing and a prayer by the skin of your teeth. A wing and a prayer by the skin of your teeth. Like, Josh isn't good. He got close because he's never gone in.
No, but
he had a good political alliance. He had a great political
alliance. So don't fuck it up right before the end by declaring, I'll get that guy who's beat far superior competitors than you, Josh.
Okay. Josh wants to earn it though, and you have to put. It's a dumb move, right? Because we say never go into elimination unless you're forced to, but in a way, he wants to prove to not only himself and his castmates, but to you, Pamela, and you, Jenna, that he's a true. All right, fine. Sorry, you, Pamela,
by not going in, not by getting thrown out the day before a final.
What if he beats? What he's not going to? What if he beats Fessy in a hall brawl next week? Are you going to give him credit? How could you not, Pamela?
Josh
beat Fessy in a hall brawl.
No, what I would say is if Josh goes against Chris, like he wants to so hard and beats him, then I will say, all right, stupid but honorable, I guess.
I'm telling you, if he beats Fessy, you need to give him props. In a hall brawl.
I will. Yeah. If Josh beats Fessy in a hall brawl, I will give him props.
There you go.
Yes, of course.
He should have never said that about Chris and wanting to go in against him.
What was that?
I think he was lying.
He's too emotional.
Say less, as the kids say. When you're safe, just enjoy the safety and sneak away.
Yeah.
Well, again, if you want to go in. Oh, Chris had immunity. I was going to say, then go in against Chris tonight, big man. Like, you want to go in so bad.
I think it's also
let's make it a guys' night.
Pamela, it's also a lot of Josh just talking to talk, and he was saying it to his guys who he wants the guys to be like, look, I'm as good as you are. I'm just as talented as you are at this game, when he's not, but he's trying to prove it to them. He just wants to be a part of the group so badly.
Yes.
Cute.
It's so cute. Yeah, I mean, real dumb and wow, am I excited to see what happens.
Saying it out loud and not ever thinking or hoping that it will come to fruition. You know what I mean? Oh,
hold a pet.
She's so tired.
See a pet, hold a pet.
Look how tired she is.
All right.
I have so many cats outside. I could go pluck one off the street.
Baby Rosie, look how tired.
Oh, Rosie! Wow,
we're gonna have dinner. She's gonna have dinner, and then she's gonna get a treat. A treat?
Rosie girl. Hi, Rosie.
All right.
Yeah, Rose.
We wrapping it?
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. Is anybody gonna watch Bananas on E's House of Villains? They premiered that. They promoted that during the show.
Probably.
I
I like check it out.
I don't understand what it is or how to watch it, but It looked funny when
It's
I
on
once saw
E,
it.
so I think I can just DVR the thing on my Hulu Live or whatever, I guess.
DVR. I don't know if that's
Well,
a
on
thing.
Hulu Live, you can do your favorite or whatever. It's they don't call it
You
DVR.
know that shit.
DVR. Are you gonna VHS it and hit record?
That way I can watch. Then I can't watch anything else because all I have is my 27-inch my big fat back TV. I can't. That's all I can. I gotta. Oh,
Your antenna. Get your antenna.
I gotta
on.
get the bunny ears. Oh, it's a whole thing.
All
I
right,
saw a
love you
clip
guys.
of that show on TikTok, and New York starts going in on bananas.
Yes.
I might have to watch this. But he was like laughing under his breath. I was like, oh man, no, I want him to
I mean, New York was a character. Her real name is Tiffany something. That's I Love New York. Ever watch it on VH1? She was on
Yeah.
Flavor of Love.
Didn't she start on? Yeah, I
On
watched.
Flavor of Love, she got second place.
Oh
She
my
lost the
God.
hoops. She lost the
Here's
hoops.
some of the most, if you're ever just like on TikTok or Instagram scrolling, her and Dance Moms have like the funniest clips from their show. Like the most out of pocket, just jarring reality TV clips that you'll ever see.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Yeah.
And if you guys watching are bored and want to go back and watch old after buzz of Dance Moms, that was my first show. So
Oh, cool.
did Dance
I didn't know
Moms.
that.
Damn,
Oh, it
Dance
is a
Moms.
hoot because they are insane people. Okay.
Whenever I see a
love you
clip,
guys.
it actually like I feel unwell for them. Like, this
Crazy.
can't be real.
And I like watching people dance. It's funny, like those kids were such good
They're
dancers. Like
so
watching them dance,
incredible.
I was like, it's kind of cool seeing like
Oh my gosh, they
really
were
good
amazing.
dancing. Yeah,
the
I like.
adults,
Yeah,
adults,
they
their
did
mental
like
state
Maggie.
as adult women was just not okay. It's like
no.
easily diagnosable.
Oh, let's try and shoe. All right, love you guys.
All right.
Love you
We'll
guys. Let
we'll
us
see
know
y'all
what
next
you
week
think.
for another episode.
Yeah.
It should be the final one before the final. That's pretty good. We got a final Eve.
Final leave.
Okay. Bye, everyone. We'll see you
Bye,
later.
guys.